This is Second Wind.
Our guest is Carmen Rodriguez, the Global Chief Growth Officer at Gut. She's spent her career turning relationships into partnerships, pitches into business wins, and creative visions into global impact. At Gut, Carmen's connecting the agency's famously gutsy creative work with the brands bold enough to buy it. From building new markets to nurturing long-term client trust, she's part strategist, part rainmaker, and part cultural translator. We'll be talking about the art and science of growth, why bravery is the most bankable strategy in the room, and how she's helping lead one of the most talked about agencies in the world toward its next chapter. Carmen, welcome to Second Wind.
Wow. Can I keep playing this over and over?
Yes. It's yours.
The days that I don't feel very I'm going to play Kerrie Finch intro. Sao Paulo, Brazil, that's where I'm from. Then I moved to Miami. And most recently, I am based in Amsterdam.
Tell us a bit about how you even got into the industry in the first place.
It is about the passion for creativity. It is about the passion for ideas. So I was born in Brazil, which is a very creative country. Advertising in Brazil is almost as famous as if you were a movie maker, right?
Just football, yeah.
It's so part of the pop culture that you understand that people that work in the industry, that work with creativity and advertising, they are shaping the culture as well as a TV show or as well as a movie. So you understand in Brazil how advertising is important. When you grow up with these jingles and these brands that are part of your childhood. And when I found out that you could actually do that for a living and get paid to present those ideas and actually have normal people in the streets, either singing your jingle or talking about your brand, I was like, I think this is it for me. And I started working when I was 17 years old at Leo Burnett, and I never left.
And how specifically did you get that first opportunity?
It's a super interesting story. I had a friend that was working at one small little agency that got acquired by Leo Burnett, and she said, hey, they're recruiting for this account to work with this director that doesn't speak Portuguese. So they need someone that speaks fluent English. I went through this process, and I was like the intern, but they really make you go through something, and you needed to fill out a lot of forms, and then I got shortlisted. It was just me and this other person, and then I had to interview with the director, and it was my first job. I was 17 years old, so I was very, very nervous. So I enter the room, and this guy is still to this day someone that I cherish a lot. He looked at me and said hi, what's your name and what do you have to say? So I was so nervous that I started talking to him about the soccer teams in Sao Paulo. I was selling him why should he cheer for my team, which was Palmeiras. I was so nervous that I started talking about the teams. And I didn't talk anything about advertising. I didn't talk about Leo Burnett. I didn't talk about the Apple story or the things that I had researched. Okay, I'm going to say this and that. All
Nothing.
Gone. And then I left the interview and I was like, oh my God, I completely ruined it. I was talking about soccer, what this man has to do, what is he? And he was German. And then he told me, I'm going to hire you because if you are able to sell ideas with the same passion that you just sold me your soccer team, we're going to be in great hands.
Nice.
And to this day, I met him in Amsterdam. He lives in Germany, and he was there with his daughter, and we met after 20 years for a drink, and he said, I still cheer for Palmeiras because of you. So it's funny.
But he saw something in you,
He did.
and he was smart enough to see it, whereas somebody else may have completely dismissed.
Exactly.
that.
Completely shut me down because why is this person talking about football here, And
There we go. Football. I know
The
it's hard in
universal-
America because, you have to say soccer, but
he looked at me and he said, yeah, I see the passion. I see commitment. I see you trying to find a way to explain why this is better than the others. And that's exactly what I need. So that's
So
how
How did you end up taking that passion to gut? What was the link there? How long did that take?
It's still about the power of the creativity and the power of
Mhm.
the idea. So I see a group of people that has the same passion as I do. And I'm not a cynical person about advertising. I very, very much love it. And I'm very loud about it. And when you find,
No, Carmen, you're not. No, say it's not so.
and if you meet people that have the same passion, that believe that the power that creativity have to shape culture, to change things, to deliver important messages, you just want to be with these people. And I think this is how my trajectory started. So when I moved to the US, I met Anselmo, and he was still at David at the time. And there was an opportunity to work with this Brazilian client at the time was Fernando Machado to work with the Burger King.
Okay.
And it was just supposed for me to be there for 1 month for a specific
Oh.
project. And then I never left. And we did this amazing run between David and Burger King at the time when we were there. And when Anselmo decided, okay, now it's time for me to jump and do my own thing, he invited me to be one of his original partners at the agency. I couldn't say no because, again, it's just Gaston and Anselmo are so passionate about this business. They are so ruthless in the way that we like it is about that. We shouldn't be cynical. We shouldn't be dismissive of what we do. And I had to jump and do it. So it has been the most amazing ride of my career we're 7 years old. We have 10 offices all over the world. I still cannot believe every day when I'm presenting the credentials of the agency to new clients. And I did this morning. I look at the roster of clients, of the beautiful brands that trust us to do their creative work. And I pinch myself.
There's something very special about gut, why you have stayed.
I think it's people that resonate with this love for creativity and this love for advertising, people that are truly wanting to do something that is different, that is big, that is disruptive, but not just for the sake of being disruptive. Like it's not just, oh, let's do something crazy here that it doesn't matter how it gets talked about. No, it's a very conscious decision to be brave. And we have this thing that we call the brand one word. We do it for brands and we also do it for us, for ourselves. And it's a really, really interesting exercise when you try to find what's your brand one word. And our brand one word is bravery, right? Gut started from a brave attitude from Gaston and Anselmo that decided to leave behind something that was very safe and very solid.
And to take a leap.
And to take a leap for something that they believed, to take a leap to something that they believed that it was going to be better and better for the industry, better for them, better for us. And I think it's a mix of this feeling of challenging status quo and then not being conformed. That is something that I think attracts talent and clients as well. The pure passion about creative ideas and the pure passion about growing businesses and growing brands and shaping culture through bravery. But then you say like, but bravery, it's again, as I mentioned, just doing crazy things. And actually, no, bravery is not binary. It's not either you are brave or you're not brave. It's a journey. And that's what we try to tell our clients, right? It's about you being braver and braver every day in a way that gets you a little bit out of your comfort zone, but you feel you can keep on going.
Do you have a gutsy radar?
When I'm presenting the agency, we have what we call the reverse RFI. Some questions that we like to ask our clients before we even decide to move on with the relationship or participate on a pitch. What is your creative ambition, right? Why are you talking to us? Are you prepared for an agency that is going to provoke you? And it's all genuine questions because like in any relationship, when you meet someone for the first time, you need to ask the questions like, do you want to eventually be serious in a relationship and have kids or whatever? The start of any relationship needs to be founded based on transparency. The people, when we present the bravery scale, we ask clients, where do you place you as a person in the scale from 0 to 10? And where do you position your company or your brand? And usually the clients are higher as people and the brands are lower, which is what we call the bravery gap. What is my job as an agency? To bridge the gap, help the brand be as brave as the people that work. And that's where the working together with the clients come in place, because then it's about, hey, how are we going to do this together? But some clients either fail or they don't feel comfortable pushing. And then it's a harder relationship. But usually when you call an agency that is named Gut, you already know what you are kind of expecting.
Wearing your heart on your sleeve, let's face it.
Exactly.
I'm interested in how the growth role has evolved. There was a time when, like, you win a few Grand Prix and the phone would ring. We've seen a real increase in like the competitiveness from ambitious creative agencies like yourselves. I'm interested in how you're thinking about growth and building relationships and sort of filling the pipeline with clients. Maybe you guys just flooded with inbound interest, which is fantastic. What I'm hearing more broadly in the industry is the need to really like sharpen positioning, sharpen, growth and sales materials.
I still think that when you best advertising that you can do for your agency is the work still. So people will look at the work and they will say, I want to work with these guys. I'm jealous of that work. Why is my agency not doing this type of work for me? And again, it doesn't necessarily have to do with the agency. Sometimes I always think that it's a 50-50%. It's not the agency is bad or the client is bad. Everybody has a role to play, of course. So I think still doing fantastic work for clients, being consistent is, for me, it's still the biggest advertising we can do as an agency. But also I think, and this is something that was very thought of on our case, was we build a brand for ourselves. So we built the Gut brand in a way that was very, very thought of from day one. We wanted to have a POV on creativity. We wanted to have a POV on how we addressed diversity and inclusion. How do we believe that creativity comes from diversity? How do we believe that we should work together with our clients? And we talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about this sort of open kitchen relationship where the clients are part of the process with us and everybody's accountable and everybody is putting their finger on it. And I think having a very strong POV and a very strong positioning, it doesn't work only for our clients. It has to work for you as a brand. So if you do a fantastic job as a brand for yourself, your clients will say, this brand's amazing. I want these guys to do the same. Kerrie was the beautiful moderator of the Cannes Lion presentation we did this year with Mercado Libre, which is our longest relationship. It's been 6 years of relationship between Gut and Mercado Libre. And the way this relationship was built with consistency and building the brand and transforming the business of Mercado Libre, it's something that other clients look and say, why can I have this type of relationship with my agency? I love beer. I cannot live without my favorite beers and they have to put up with me forever. So we've been working together for 20 years. So I have very deep relationships with people, but also it's about the work. I trust these guys and I trust that they're going to do great work for me that will generate results for my brands. And I think it's in the end, it's about that.
I think trust is a really big word there because you're trusting your gut.
You work with the clients, they're humans, you're a human, and you need to build that relationship over the trust. You need to understand that the things that we push them, but it's not about them or about us. It's about all of us together looking at the same direction. And I think that's the trust also, that it's very important to be built in every day. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come automatically. Sometimes you're going to be in a bad moment in the relationship and you need to make some efforts. Sometimes you are like in the best moment of the relationship and everything is amazing. It's a conscious effort daily by everyone at the agency. And it's something that we have been proudly doing for a very long time.
The US is obviously the biggest consumer market in the world and an important one for all brands. How have you seen clients' behavior and attitudes towards being brave shift in the past, like let's call it since last November or like since the beginning of the year?
Why pick November, Gully?
Yeah, I do know, just random, right?
As an agency and as a partner, you need to understand the nuances of the market and how you're going to help your clients navigate that. We need to balance how we're going to manage and help them navigate difficult situations in a creative way, in a brave way, but also being, I think it's empathy. You have to feel empathy for the moment. If I'm selfish and I just want to push, 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 push for, oh, we have to do this or you have to do that, that's the only way, you're not putting yourself on your client's shoes. And you need to do that if you are really building the relationship and working together. We know that creativity comes from diversity. If you enter a room full of the same people, there's nothing good that's going to come out of that because you're going to see only one angle of an idea. When
Even
you
your
enter
career started with a German going to Sao Paulo, right?
exactly. And when you enter a gut office, for example, Amsterdam, we are now 30 people at that office. You are going to see probably at this time, and I don't have the actual data, but I think we have more than 15 different nationalities. So you see
That's cool.
people from New Zealand, Brazilians, Argentinians, Germans, French, and it's a pool of different cultures. And you see when the discussions are happening and we are like
Yeah.
creatively talking about an idea, you see different walks of life, different backgrounds of people building onto something. And
Uh,
something will necessarily be stronger than if it was just a whole bunch of, I don't know, Carmen's. For us and for our business, it's very important that we will never be diverse enough.
That's something very special about Amsterdam, which is unlike any other city or country, I believe, that there is this true mixing, a true mixology of people, humans, cultures. I learned that when I was at Wieden and Kennedy. I think we were 150 and we were about 35 different nationalities. It was bonkers. Yeah. And I just thought that was normal for the creative industry. And then you visit other countries and they're all American, or they're all German, or they're all French, or they're all, whatever, South African. What has Amsterdam taught you that you didn't know before? What has it brought to light for you, either about the industry or about human nature?
I think Amsterdam has transformed me, the way I see things, as mainly as a person. I have lived in Brazil and I have lived in Miami and I have lived in New York. I have lived in LA. But Amsterdam is so rich and so, at the same time, it's such a small city.
Uh-huh.
And the time passes in a unique, you feel that people are very open. So I see people different walks of life and different ways of dressing themselves and expressing themselves without affecting anyone. The person is just there minding their own business and nobody has anything to do with that. And I think that's beautiful, to live in a city that you can honestly be truly who you are. And that's not going to bother anybody and nobody's going to,
And that mixology informs the work,
and
exactly as
that
you've said.
exactly. And that's one of the reasons why we decided to open Gut in Amsterdam, because we really believed that we needed that, like the different
Yeah.
types of people coming together, and the easiest, and it's already there. So why not? Why not be there, and why not bring it some energy to this fantastic city? So I think that mix of people that you find, and you find in the culture, and you find in the different types of food that you experience in a day to day. I had never had Ethiopian food or Surinamese restaurants, and I'm visiting all of these different colors and different foods and different flavors. And that is beautiful. That makes me a better creative because I get to experience different things.
Gut has won a wealth of awards over the years. And Brazil and Argentina, they're really big on awards, aren't they? They're really, like you say, advertising, makes superstars of people in those countries. Is there an award that you've yet to win? You love to win.
I would love to win a D&AD Black Pencil.
Uh,
And I would love to win a Grand Prix in glass.
yeah, at Cannes Lions.
I have won the Penta Pencil, which is an award that I'm very proud of the one show, which we won for the 5 years relationship with BK. And that award, it's carried deeply because it is about everything that we're saying. It's about building a relationship, building consistency, building a brand, and going through all of the challenges that being in a long-term relationship takes you. So when you're able to achieve that, It's super, super special. This year, we won the first glass lion for Boticário for Brazil. And it was so emotional. And it's not necessarily about the award. It's about the relationship with those clients and what it means for that team to be recognized. We've been working with a beer brand in Brazil that's Skol. It's one of the biggest beer brands in the world, and it's only sold in Brazil. They had never won when we started our relationship, and it was like, well, maybe one day. And I remember the first lion we won with them was a bronze lion. And I think it was one of the lions that I most celebrated in my entire life, more than the Grand Prix that I've won, because it's such a
It meant something.
Can you tell us a little bit about the creative process at Gut? You started your career at Leo. I started DDB in Sydney. Back in those days, it was very rigorous. It was very analog. There weren't emails. The brief was a large printed piece of paper. I'm curious about like creative process broadly, but then also like specifically, what do you think is like special about Gut's creative process?
I think what I love about Gut is something that I think I pushed a lot for this throughout my career. I was always an account person, and I never accepted the fact or the label that they would put at me that I was not allowed to be a creative. And I never accepted that as an account person. So I was always the account person that was hanging out with the creatives and sneaking into the creative process, mainly because I loved it. So I always found my
You weren't
way.
saying client won't like that. Client won't like that.
Make the logo bigger. So I studied a lot for that. And this is something that I tell all my account people. I said, you have to study. So you have to go to love the work. You have to go to all the archives, and you have to look at the work. And you need to be able to sit with a creative and say, this piece of work reminds me of this from Grand Prix, from XYZ. And you need to be able to know what you're talking about. Then you're going to be respected, right? So I always try to do like that. And this is something that's very important to me. And at Gut, everybody's a creative. Everybody's a creative. So the creative process, when you are in a room, everyone is pitching ideas. I pitched the script at some point to Anselmo, and I don't care, and he doesn't care. So it doesn't matter where the idea comes from. It matters is if it's a good idea, let's explore it. So you feel that you are in a safe space, that you actually get to be a creative if you are an account person, if you are working in strategy or content or media, it doesn't matter. So I think this is something that makes me very, very proud, because that's how I believe an agency should be. It's a little bit chaotic because it's those big lunches with like an Italian family that everybody's screaming, but it's very unique. And again, everybody's very passionate. So when you're passionate, and everybody's like trying to sell their ideas or to build on ideas. And then the end result is it's a beautiful thing to see. And everybody cheers a lot for each other. There's not a competition. There's healthy competition, especially, for example, between offices. We have very healthy competitions, but we have a global council, and everybody helps everybody. Everybody sort of tries to make the ideas better. And it's not just like the person in Amsterdam said, it's Brazil, I don't care. No. We're all helping each other, helping the ideas be better. It doesn't matter which office that is. And I think that's very also unique from a network.
And in which case, your hiring process, I would imagine, is quite rigorous, because you want to ensure that the right type of human is hired. How does that come about? Talk to us about that.
It's usually a longer process than you would want it to be. So we take our time getting to know the person. Everybody talks to the person, especially in higher senior levels, right? So I will talk to the person, CEO will talk to the person, managing director will talk to the person, creatives will talk to the person. So the person is like, oh my God, I have like 12 meetings. Founders will talk to the person. And it's about that. It's about really identifying that this talent will thrive at Gut, and it will be good for them as well as it will be good for us if it's a match. So we need to be very mindful of people. And again, if the person is cynical about advertising, you already know that's not going to work. If advertising for them is just a job, like, it's not going to work. because it's the love of our lives.
All three of us live in countries that are not our native countries. There's something very important there, because that comes back to your point, Carmen, about Amsterdam and it being a melting pot when it comes to cultural mixes for the creative industry.
It really takes you out of your comfort zone. The first time you move to a different country that's not yours,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have the same net of safety. You don't have the safety net of your friends, or even like your from small things like the supermarket, and you don't know what
Yes.
brands you have to buy
The
now.
supermarket.
Yes,
That
it's
is
so
the biggest
basic
one.
and yet
It's like, I don't know what
Basic,
to
but
buy.
it's
so
terrifying.
basic and so challenging.
Especially in America.
Terrifying. You go there and you're like, okay, now there's 500 types of soap. What do I do? You know, those little things to, I don't trust, who do I trust as a doctor? Or where do I go if I'm sick and I don't know who to call? So those force you to really be humble and be a different person. It transforms you as a person, and a person that will have a different view of the world, being compassionate about other people.
It's a particularly hard time for young folks entering the industry. They're not in offices. And I know at least I learned everything from just like seeing other people in an office. But then also is like, I think AI has impacted the need for juniors. How are you guys thinking about the pipeline of like creative talent? And what advice would you have, I guess, for a young person who wants to work at Gut?
I like being around people. I like being at the office and the jokes that we play with each other. And I like showing up at my friend's desk and stealing his mouse and leaving him looking for it for 8 hours. And, and then I do a ransom note. I love doing those things because that creates bonding and it makes it fun. It's so boring. Like today I'm here in the alone, and who am I going
Isolated.
to play with? Again, it's so, and how am I going to learn? And I learn every day with the people, like the senior people that I work with, and the junior people that I work with, because I learn a lot from them as well. So I think it's really tough. And when I see people coming to us and say, "Oh, I want to be only remote," I feel bad for them, because I'm like missing out a whole bunch of great friends. My best friends for my life are the people that I met at the agencies that I worked, and some of my clients. They are my best friends for life. And so if you don't allow the chance for these encounters to happen, I just feel sad. At Gut, what we're trying to do is sort of a hybrid thing. We're like 3 times a week at the office, and then 2 times you can work remote, but the office is open every day. So there are people that go every day. I go almost every day. I just don't go on Friday when I'm in whatever place I am, but I go, and I just don't go usually on Fridays, but the other days we're there, we're at the office, and then like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, let's grab a beer, let's chat. The other day, one of the strategists I got, she was taking tarot cards to the team at the agency. So it was like end of day. She's like, okay, I can play some tarot cards with you. And it was like 10 people around this round table, and we were drinking beer, and she was doing that. And it was amazing. So these types of things, I think the young generation will miss a lot if they don't force themselves to go to the office and have a different perspective and a different view. But also you cannot also go back to the past. So let's be flexible, and hybrid, and do things that flow in a better way for everyone.
Yeah, it's be as inclusive as possible, I guess. Carmen, what do you want your legacy to be in 20 years when you look back or people talk about you?
I just want to do work that is impactful, that changed the way people think about a brand or the way people have a certain behavior. I want to do work that is effective, work that works. For me, it's when I was president of the one show jury for creative effectiveness, and I had to write what would be the criteria for me. It's about work that works that your aunt will share with you on the WhatsApp group. I want to leave behind a company that really changed the way creative is done, creative is built. Now with us in the merger with Globant, it will be more about AI. It will be more about technology. How do we merge those things at the service of creativity.
Carmen Rodriguez, thank you so much for spending time with us. It's been an absolute blast. You are, as ever, a fireball of energy, and you've made me think, certainly, in all sorts of different directions.
Thanks,
Thank
Carmen.
you. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for giving me the space to talk about my career, to talk about my work, and again, to talk about the things that I love the most, which is advertising and creativity. So,
And wearing white on Fridays.
Hmm?
And wearing white on Fridays.
and wearing white on Fridays is very important. This is a very Brazilian thing. Wearing white on Fridays, it's something that's kind of
Wait,
about
throughout the year?
Yeah, any time of the
Every Friday.
year.
Because Americans
wear-
are very strict with their white. You know, they're like, not after
mm.
Labor Day or whatever.
Yes, it's about start of the weekend in the cleaning way.
It's a purging, exactly. It's a
Yeah.
cleaning, it's a purging.
You know, and it's so it's a very Brazilian thing.
Fantastic. Carmen, thanks so much.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having
Thanks,
me.
Carmen.
Nice to see you.